Hoy vey, what is this? This. Hello, my lovelies. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. Happy Kwanzaa. I'm sure I'm missing one. There's usually, I think, 4 big ones right about now. But whatever your holiday, if you even have a religious belief, I wish you well for it. Welcome to this overstuffed house Christmas edition. And we all know I'm not a morning person, so of course I'm still not ready. I woke up to the wonderful gift of a sink completely filled with dishes because, my brother cleaned his room. And no, he cannot be trusted to wash dishes. No, absolutely not. Oh, there's another one of those. I love these. So I have a elk, and the elk fell over, and I have a polar bear. They are actually from Kinder Eggs. Kinder Eggs is a candy, and they come, one side of the egg is the candy, but the other side of the egg are these wonderful little figures. Sometimes it's toys, stuff like that, but I'm trying to find my red lipstick, and it's not here. It's been a morning, but they have a national park set, which I have been watching for and keeping an eye out for because I really would like to get some of those. I've gotten duplicates of the Eagles, which is cool because I've used that with my Scouts. I had one as part of my Christmas treat last night, and I got the polar bear, which I hadn't had before. And the polar bear, all of them move usually in some way, so you can actually stand the polar bear up. So the polar bear is going to be added. Wouldn't mind having a couple more of him because he's going to be added to my Christmas stuff to go with all my snowmen. And this one is the elk and the elk's head. Some of them don't move as much, like the polar bear really moves a lot, but the elk head moves up and down. There's a type of woodpecker. Oh, let's turn the Christmas lights on. Uh-oh. Oh, there we go. Yay, my little snowman lights. Now, I don't know if anybody's coming today. That's okay. They can catch it on the replay. I just know that with this weather, there's a lot of us that are stuck at home. Hello, darling. Oh, good. You got the embroidery kits and everything just in time. Oh, you like the nativity paper? Yeah, I have excess wrapping paper. Some of it came from, the inherit. When we emptied the house with the books, there were under the bed totes full of Christmas cards, wrapping paper, tissue paper. I've been using this stuff up ever since. So some of the packages that went out before Christmas, I wrapped, some of what you bought because I thought it would be nice. So, yes, the all lit up TARDIS. And then I have this beauty, which doesn't have its lights. Now, there was a channel called Thrift You, and I love Sam and Sarah. But, doing a sale every week can be a lot. And that's why I do mine, I alternate. And so she had this wonderful vintage thermos, but she knew I liked snowmen. And isn't this lovely? Isn't absolutely, and it's got the Scotch tin with the Christmas colors, but it's got this vintage spun cotton head snowman and a little tiny one way up here. Now, she afterwards sent me lights for it, and I thought the lights were in the box, but they weren't. And it says, in the meadow, you can build a snowman. And I decided I wanted to have it out. And you know what she snuck in here, which was absolutely so sweet? Hiding under here is a wooden spool to hold up the one tree, because she knew from times that, seeing my channel, she knew I was very close to my mom, and my mom was a professional seamstress. So she told me she put a thing in there for that, and I'm hunting all over looking, and then I suddenly realized, what's this spot of red? And here it's a wooden spool, which was so sweet of her. I don't know. She makes the most fabulous assemblages. And I honestly don't know if she's still doing that because they stopped doing their channel. It's worth I honestly have gone back and just let the old sales and stuff play just because they're so much fun. And just to see those different assemblages she's done. They were fabulous. This is not the red I wanted, but we're gonna have red. It's Christmas. You know, this year was the first time I've ever worn like a bright red lipstick. I've never, this is new to me. I think my hair looks kind of flat, but hey. My shower this morning was literally out of a 1 gallon milk jug of water. Because my knee was not letting me go to the basement to turn the hot water on for the shower and then back upstairs and then back down. It was not happening. The shots are working well, but they do take a couple of days. And so, really? Broken or not for assemblages? Well, you know, darling, where's the boy? I so have, this desk has become a catch-all under here. Where's the boy? Sawdust, dear, would you want, I have a pair of salt and pepper shakers. Now, I don't know what I did with the boy. I know he's around. But I think they would just, for spring, be absolutely adorable in an assemblage with like tulips, you know, for springtime. But she has a problem. She has a big chunk right there. And I've been meaning to, like, I haven't gotten it together, but I've been meaning to put stuff together again and do a craft supplies sale. And I haven't. But that's the only thing. The boy, there's nothing wrong. There's salt and pepper shakers. And but she's got that right there. Hello, Lisa. So, Sawdust, darling, Merry Christmas. If you want them, just tell me and I will send them to you the next time I send you a box. Because as much as I would like to make assemblages, because I love that kind of little stuff, I have neither the space nor the time to add that to my life right now. Oh yeah, so you'll get the boy too. You'll get the boy and the girl, and I will send them off to you. So Lisa, how are your kitties and you doing this Christmas day? How are you? Sawdust, meet Lisa. Lisa, this is flippin' crazy. Lisa is flippin' crazy. Slightly true, but that's her channel. Huge amount of jewelry, does do some vintage stuff. We will in the coming year. There was just too much going on for me to the end of the year. But Lisa and I are going to figure this out so that there will be a joint sale for the two of us. So that we can have fun together. Yeah, now see, Lisa, I'm only going live for 2 hours at most because the secretary of my brother's church is cooking our turkey for us. I got to make all the sides. That's no problem. But Mike works until 3. The turkey's arriving between 2 and 2:30. They're dropping it off because we're down to 1 car. So bless her heart, on the way to her son and grandchildren, she's dropping off a turkey for me. So, oh, thank you. I always try to put the face on because of the fact that I pale out under the lights. I mean, look how pale my face is on this side, and that's because there's sunlight coming through the window over there. I just white right out. You know, though, as a kid, even in high school, all I had to do was walk into the nurse's office and she'd take one look at me and go, "I'll call your mother to send you home." Well, one day it was so funny because all I was doing was taking a note down for a teacher who had an awful headache and wanted some Tylenol but couldn't leave her classroom. And I walked in the door. She goes, "All right, I'll call your mother." She would never even check me out, just the fact that I was so pale. And I just laughed and went, "Nope, I'm here for Mrs. Ambrogi. Here's the note." She was just so ready to send me home. Oh. So I will drop the link for you in a second. We all know Nancy's not a morning person, and today is no different because I came down to a sink full of dishes. Merry Christmas from my brother. He cleaned this room. Oh, look at that. I'm not even in the right YouTube channel on my, gotta flip it around, get onto this overstuffed house. Oh, Tacky is me is live, so Daniel's live right now too. There's gonna be quite a few people during the day, I'm sure, that are gonna pop in and off. Okay, now let me open up another YouTube thing so that I can find Lisa's channel. Lisa, are you not a moderator? If I could spell flippin' right, my hands hurt so friggin' much from this cold weather. It's been bad. Here we go. Copy. Okay, here we go. Well, and once we get like into the new year, I will have more time to be on at different points in the day too, Lisa. I won't be locked in to just Thursday nights late at night. Oh, you're on your crap top. Okay, so here is Lisa's channel. Let me get that in there. There you go. There's the link for Flippin' Crazy. Yeah, I mean, it's just, there's been so much. And then as I get closer to the time of needing the spinal shots, my mobility gets less and less, and I can do less and less. So I just chose to focus on just shipping as much as I could. I mean, even my last sale on this week, because it just happened to fall to this week, I think I only showed you guys like 5 or 6 items. Oh. Okay, darling. Have fun with those. I miss stockings so much. It's the one thing I miss from as a kid is I really miss having a stocking. Go fill up those stockings for those grandsons. Goodbye. You'll be looking for a house up where? Up here in PA? Cool. PA is a big state, though. I'm in the southeastern corner. If you look up Wilmington, Delaware, and Philadelphia, PA, Chester is right along the Delaware River, right smack in the middle between the two. That's where I'm at. So for my tea today, you guys got to hear this. So a couple of years ago, like a long lot of years ago, because the bottom of this said manufactured in 2006. And it's all rusty from having sat on top of the refrigerator for, a decade. Oh, yeah, southeastern PA, upper Maryland. There's some nice areas like in the Elkton area, but when you get right outside of Elkton, out of the city, there's some nice area right around there. You'll find some fixer-uppers there. Delaware County, where I'm at, is pretty urban. It's pretty built up. You can find fixer-uppers. I'm on the edge of Chester, which is an economically challenged city, but I'm cut off from most of that by I-95. And the reason I've stayed is because the taxes here are a third of what they were anywhere else in the county. So now they've upped that. So now it's a little less than that, but they're still cheaper. Oh no, there's actually in my city, there's 3 streets that are row homes. The standard, like up in Philly, has a ton of them, where it's the long rows of brick row homes. There's 3 streets just over that way by Crozier Hospital, because it used to be the Crozier Mills. But they're all homes from after World War II. They were all done right after World War II. Most of my area is all either twins from the 1920s, or they're big single family houses. So yeah, old farmhouse. Well, you can find that around Elkton. You could definitely find that around Elkton, Maryland. Yeah, you need decent internet. But I have having my tea this morning. Now I'm not a fan of fruit flavored teas. But my boss at the time gave me this and I thought, "Oh, this is great. Revolution." And it's tea and it's oolong. I'll try it. It's where is it? It's got oolong, and then one of these sides says what flowers are in it. Oh, there it is on the front. There's the front. Got a nice, pretty picture of what I don't know. Chinese oolong with safflower, peach, and apricot. Now, I don't normally like them, and they are big, pyramid-shaped tea bags, right? So I opened this thing up at work, and I thought, great, I'll try it right away. Well, I didn't read the package. I dunked this sucker right into a teacup, and that was before I had a big 16-ounce teacup. And I thought, wow, this is really strong. Then I get home, and she's laughing at me. Then I get home and I read the package. She never said a word. This is for an entire pot. It's was quite a surprise. The Teapot Revolution Teapot Infuser Bag is the most innovative brew of systems available. Each bag is designed to brew a full-bodied, flavorful pot of tea. Oops. So, I mean, it looks worse than it is because it's been on top of 2 different refrigerators since then. And I'm going to look up Revolution Tea when this is done. But it's actually the only one with floral in it, with any kind of fruit in it that I've ever liked, which is unusual because at most I have a lemon and ginger, and I'll drink that. But I'm just not a big fruit person for my teas. Now, that's my paperwork I need to rewrite because I have busted my tail so much and tried to do stuff that I think my shipping list has gone from 7 pages to 4. But it's to the point now where there's so many notes on it, I have to rewrite it all. So we have 8 watching us now. So it's going to be a quiet morning. Gary went back upstairs. He'll probably fall asleep for his morning nap. Michael is at work until 3. Let's see if this will let me. I've never used this thing, and the first thing it did was scorch my hand with the hot water because apparently it doesn't necessarily seal properly. So try to stir it around. Make sure that stevia gets all mixed in, because that carafe is the old kind, has the glass inside of it, and it's been in the pantry for ages. My mom had given it to me, and I've not ever actually used it. So it's time. So one of the things I'm going to do today is I have 3 packages that are friend mail, and I thought we could open them together since it's Christmas. One of them actually says, "Do not open until Christmas." And I can't wait to see it because Michelle from Comfy Cozy Living actually left me a message going, "I hope you like your Christmas present that got sent to you," because it came from her sale, which because of when her sales are on, I don't usually get to see her sales that often. And so I can't wait to see what it is. It should be interesting. She usually has really cool stuff. Well, a lot of us do. I mean, a lot of us are really, but she's got a slightly twisted sense of humor. So sometimes she has some fun stuff. that you wouldn't expect. But the first package, if it's what I think it is, I want to make sure it's okay. It's never a good thing when your box arrives wrapped in plastic with a note from the post office. But I don't hear any noise. Oh, foo. Did I leave my scissors outside last? No, my scissors are out in the front hallway. Well, I use the tiny little pocket knife. Cut this off. I froze yesterday, and my hands, I couldn't get anything done last night. We had a basement window that had just basically dry rotted apart. Hello, Julie. And we found the cat was getting into the basement. We couldn't figure out how. Or she figured out as she pushed on the glass just fell in. And so we had to fix that. Mike's way of fixing it was he put boards over top of the basement window, but the boards are not flush. They're kind of, you can tell he's not a carpenter. So that's a lot of cold air getting into a basement, and the basement's not heated. So I was out there in the bitter cold because we hadn't gotten to it before then. So I ended up doing it, and I was out there with little tack nails and a hammer way too big for the job, and fingerless gloves, trying to hold these short little nails in over the plastic sheeting to try to tap it into the wood, because I realized that sitting here, the window is right over there. So all that cold air is coming right under my feet and making the back end of this living room so cold. So I was just having none of that. But by the time I came in, my hands hurt so badly. And here the wind chill was 0 yesterday. The temperature outside was 12, but the wind chill it probably was lower than that at that point, because at that point we were getting 20-mile-an-hour winds when I go out. But I was running out of daylight. I kept waiting for a chance for the wind to break down, and it didn't. So I had to get it done. There was no way with this cold weather. But I could tell you right now, it's made a difference, because I'm sitting here and my feet aren't frozen already. I mean, even yesterday with wool socks on and sneakers, I couldn't last 5 minutes. My feet were that cold. So I could tell it's definitely made a difference. And we had some leftover pieces of this styrofoam insulation. They use it on houses now. They take regular big sheets of styrofoam that are 2 or 3 inches thick, depending on where it needs to be. It has Tyvek on one side. Hi, Gritty Gret. And so I had a piece of that, and it's just big enough to go right into the inset of the stones. And we pushed that on the inside part in the basement. So this looks like it might have been a Frankenbox kind of thing. Well, no, but this side squished a little. But props to Jennifer Eads. Janeads is her channel, because so far I don't think. Oh, you're having a heat wave in Ohio at 13? Yeah, I think we might hit 14 today. I have to be careful with this. This end is sharp. This end is not. This end is also a file, which is kind of counterintuitive. I'm hoping this is in one piece, because I fully intend to use it as I drink my tea, and we have tea together this morning. So Merry Christmas, Lou. Michael happened to be standing here and saw this and know that my Christmas stuff, I like to have stuff that's white with the holly on it. So this is Royal Albert Bone China Flower of the Month series. And this is holly. Now this is the saucer. Isn't that adorable? So she was doing a sale unique way that night. She was doing you put in what you're willing to pay for it. So my son just went, tell her $10. I'm like, huh? He goes, I know that's kind of like the stuff that you've been looking for for some Christmas, for your Christmas dishes. See if she'll take $10 for it. I'm like, okay, but that means shipping too. And he goes, okay, yeah. He says, but you can't open it until Christmas when it gets here. Okay. Ah. A I don't know what that is, Gritty Grit. What is that? A portiere? Portiere? Can you tell what? Can you tell I flunked phonetics? Now let's see. Yes, it's fine. Hey, look at that. Look at that. Oh, it's beautiful. Now this one's different in that this one actually has like different leaves on it and different berries, because some of the berries aren't all red, and this kind of looks like a bittersweet leaf, but it's very pretty. Oh, okay. Man, I wish I had that. Oh, I wish I had that for my, well, actually, I want a giant thing of curtains that I could just cover the entire front doorway. Because our front door, it's, as the house has settled, see, I even brought a wet paper towel to clean this out and dry it before I use it. It doesn't fit in right anymore. Like, I need a professional carpenter to come take it all apart and refit it, because some of the jury rig jobs that have been done to that poor door, now there's sections where people nailed things in, and so they don't actually connect properly, and there's a lot of cold draft coming through. I tried putting plastic over the narrow windows, but I'm too short, and Mike had to be at work by 7 this morning, and he was out seeing his dad last night. He got back later than he anticipated. I hope he had a good time with his dad. I mean, his dad, I know, absolutely loves him very much. And so here we go. Lunch. Is that how you say it? Actually, that should be with whiskey, I think. Really, really nice. And it's surprising because I don't like peach. I don't like apricot. Don't like either one of them. Won't eat them. Don't like them. Don't like anything with them. But this combination with the oolong tea is just really something else. Who's chat? Oh, Janiads? Let me go find it. Let's drop a link here. Let me go find her channel. Did I spell it wrong? Geanneads. No, I spelled it right. All right, let's see. Because I'm finding stuff where she's, oh, but that's a short. That doesn't give me the information. Live sale tonight. Jeanneads. So yeah, but why can I not find it? So if I put in her name, I'm coming up with like she was Vintage and Vino were on her channel, but they didn't put the link in their comments in their thing. So where the devil is she? All right, let's do it this way. Let's go through subscriptions and hope that they didn't. There it is. And I'm subscribed, so why did you not? Here we go. There we go. There you go, Gritty. I made you a moderator, so now you can actually add links. Did I say G? No, I had it spelled with a J. Oh, you know why? I spelled it as Jean, and it's Jen. It's Jenn, and I had Jean. That's why I couldn't find it. Oh, oh, aren't you pretty? I was afraid those birds would pass us. In this area, in my area, I only ever see juncos this time of year. And I've got two of them out there. They're on a little piece of trumpet vine. I don't know if that's a safe place considering the cooler out there is where Shadow's been sleeping, but Shadow did not come for breakfast. I'm a little worried about that because it was very cold last night. And I did not, a friend of mine, she sat me in last weekend, sat me in her car on Sunday night saying, you will get Venmo. And she gave me some money to get supplies for the cats, one of which was to be a bale of hay because I need that to put in the coolers. And I have two styrofoam coolers to make new beds to have out on the wood porch because that's a sheltered kind of porch. And Venmo takes a long while to finally get it started up so that because you got to go through all this to get it verified and all that. And by the time you got done, the money didn't show up till yesterday. And so there was enough. I went out and I restocked with cat food. Got a box of litter, got a case of cat food, which thank goodness they're eating it because it's like the store brand. The doctor's having a rough time with it though. She's got a more delicate stomach. That's why she's been getting, as she's gotten older, she's having more trouble with what she eats. So she gets, usually I splurge and I get Fancy Feast just for her, but she only eats a third of a can at a time. The vet says she's fine. She's just older and has a delicate stomach. That is so nice. So let's see. What's the next one? The next one is Sandra Larkin. So that's Pink Elephant Parlor. Hey, Trisha. How are you? Let's see. I find her channel, Pink Elephant Parlor. And it's actually supposed to be all one word, but there's the link for her. So this came and I opened it, but then I saw this and it said from Linda Schreier to Nancy. And that's when I was like, oh, so this is another present. We'll hang on to this one for Christmas. That's the one thing that is a bit of a pain is that when you have like the parent. There's one like central parent sometimes that becomes like the heart of the family. And so Christmas is always centered around them. And because I live with mom, then, I'd have to get her around in the different family houses. But then once she passed away, it's like it all fractured out. But then everybody also has their own grandchildren now. So now they are the one that are, going along and taking care, and it'll spread out from there. But sometimes you feel like you're left behind, so oh, snowman, it's little bitty snowman. Oh my goodness, I was at that sale. I forgot all about these. Oh my, like I have my little Lennox pin. Oh, these are vintage snowman picks. The heads are spun cotton. She found a batch, and one has the tag Japan. Oh, little bitty bitty snowman. Oh, that's so cool. That is so, so cool. Oh, Nancy Smith, I saw you sneak in there. Hello, sweetie. Many hugs, hon. Many hugs. And I have to rewrite the email I sent you because for some reason, when I looked at it on my phone, it cut part of it off. So I will later on. I will shoot you an email with the rest of the information. I must have hit like backspace at some point somewhere. Oh, these are so... No, I'm not going to stick them back there because I don't want to risk the cats. The kittens were well fed. They got fed like 20 minutes before I went live. So they're all asleep in Michael's room. It was planned. It was planned. It was definitely planned that they were going to get well fed so that they could go to sleep, take a nap. Snow adorable. Now the last one I have actually has written on it, like everywhere, do not open until Christmas. So I already went and cut this part, kind of jagged, but I did it in the kitchen with a knife. So it's from Michelle Comfy Cozy Living. And she left a message on one of my things last night of I hope you enjoy your Christmas present. So somebody bought me something. Let's find her channel. But yeah, it was a surprise to find this one. Just because of the times of when she has her sales, I don't always get to see hers. It's like, one thing that's a problem for me, and I have a very bad habit of it, and my friends have chastised me for it, is that when the going gets tough, Nancy turns into a turtle and hides in her shell. And so, yeah, that's a problem. But I also, with the way the pinched nerves and hit, as December went on, I wasn't watching anybody. I have found that unless it's a thing like Nurse Flipper, who does a chat where it's about reselling. No, Lisa, I did not do my 15 questions. I never had a chance to sit down and do them. I have the questions written out, so I've got to try to do that today. My 15 questions for Christmas. The reindeer one's going to get me because I got it right once and then not thinking, I said, and Leroy. Well, Leroy is a novelty song. There's an extra reindeer named Leroy, the redneck reindeer. So I not thinking started went, okay, wait, when all the name kind of added a reindeer. So I have to I have to do that video. But I like the novelty songs. I like the goofy ones. I found a new one. I farted on Santa's lap, which is a kid. It's a little kid singing it. Santa's another one is Santa stuck up in the chimney. And there's another one. Oh, who put the so there's a song in the 50s. Who put the boop in the doop boop de doop be doop? Who put the shoop in the whamma whamma bing bang? Well, what they did is it's a song about the angel on the top of the Christmas tree who wants to know who put the tree up her skirt and up her backside. It's a little bizarre, but it's clean except for the fact of where that stick is. But it's done in a very creative way. I only just found it earlier this week on YouTube. I will, when this is over, I will, because I have it in my phone, I will put the link in the description so you guys can hear it. It just was the funniest thing. I haven't laughed that hard at a novelty song in a long while because you never think about things like that. That poor angel. Never thought of that. So let's see. This is Merry Christmas to you, Nancy. This gift is from D. Rose. Enjoy. Michelle, Comfy Cozy Living. Okay. What did I just do with my little knife? This used to be one of my carving knives, and now I use it at my desk because sometimes for doing some of the stuff for Boy Scouts, you need little tiny ones. I'm looking for a little knife that's like that, little tiny, and I've not found one yet because boy, for doing fine lines and stuff, because with wood carving, you teach them how to do it. At first, you teach them how to do it with pocket knife, but the size of the blade on the pocket knife matters. And I need a tiny one to get some tiny details done. All wrapped up in red tissue paper. Let's see what we have. I'm squishing it. It feels kind of soft. Oh, because there's foam. Oh my. That's an old one. That is an old Boy Scout handbook. Oh, this is awesome. 1930s, 20s. Oh, cool, Lisa. I will check those out. This book belongs to Fred Holland. Hollanay. Okay. Where's our date? Last copyright date 1938. Oh wow. This has been well used too. This Boy Scout really went through his book pretty well. Got a couple of loose pages in there, but I don't mind. Looks like they're all there too. Oh well, that's different. I've not seen that before. So in the back, there's fun from books, and there's a whole like pages worth of there's two pages, there 3 pages worth of book titles and the author of Boy Scout stories. Boy Scouts of the Lighthouse Troop tells of Blind Scouts by F. Moulton McLean. Never heard of that one. That's Good Turn storybooks. They have A Christmas Carol, Swiss Family Robinson listed, Howard Pyle's Story of the Champions of the Round Table. I know that one. Boy Scout Stories, Boy Scouts of Bob's Hill by C.P. Burton. Don't know that one. Stories of Sports, Stories of the Great West, Indian Stories, Animal Stories, Sea Stories. Oh, yes, Sea Stories, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. That's a good one. Call of the Wild for animal stories. Wow. Popular adventure stories. The Cruise of the Dazzler by Jack London. I don't know that one. I like Jack London stuff. Hans Brinker. I have an older copy of that. Oh, this is fantastic. Wow. Oh yeah, this has been well loved. I can tell just from how the cover's all cracked up and how it's very flexible. This bends a lot. Wow, that is fantastic. Wow, that's an awesome find. That is so, so cool. Oh, I love it. I love it. Now, I might have another copy of that, but I'm pretty sure my copy of that's incomplete. I think the one I found didn't have, it's missing like the back so many pages. But they didn't, the copy I have may be from one of the previous years. Because what they did with the Boy Scout handbooks is that every year or 2 years, they would tweak stuff in them, but they wouldn't necessarily change the cover, which is why on those older ones, that has several dates in it, some of them 1 year after the other. Like it has 1937 as 1938, but it also has like 1928 listed in there. But they would keep the same cover for quite a few years, but they tweak things within the book. So you can have ones with the same cover, but if they're a different year, there can be stuff. Sometimes it's just a small change in wording or change in requirements for something. Other times it's whole sections will be different. So, hello, Jennifer. I see DMB has come in. I have more of my tea in my fancy new teacup. I don't usually use fancy teacups because they're so small. But now that I have this nice carafe thing down out of the pantry, I may just have to start. Now, is it me, or do bone china teacups seem to keep the tea hot longer than modern mugs seem to? Because it just seems to me that these stay hot a little bit longer. That's so good. And you know the nice part of this? I can wrap my fingers around it. Except right now it's way too hot. You have your mom's Girl Scout book, my Girl Scout book. Oh, and your daughter's. Oh, cool. Now, I was a Girl Scout briefly. I was a brownie. I did the brownie thing all when I was little. I don't remember much about it, but I do remember bits and pieces. When I got into Girl Scouts, I was there for a year, just a year. We had a leader that didn't like camping. We only camped just enough for her daughter to get what she wanted. And as soon as her daughter reached the highest level, no warning, she quit. And it was just chaos. And I kept telling my mom, I don't really like it anyway, because it's not like Boy Scouts, which I had grown up with. This woman didn't like us to do camping. We weren't allowed to do, she didn't even want us to do archery. I was bored. I was bored out of my mind with it. So I didn't have to go back. So I was only a Girl Scout for a year, but I did have my handbook, and I gave my handbook when my niece Sarah, I was 10 when Sarah was born and turned 11 a month later. When she was a Girl Scout, I gave her my handbook. So she has that. I did find recently And the video of when I opened up my mother's cedar chest and went through some of the stuff that was the paperwork that was on the shelf inside of it. That's on my members only for the fairy realm. But I found some Girl Scout stuff from when my sister was a Girl Scout, because my sister made it up pretty far. And there's a packet of letters, not only from when she was at camp as a scout, but there's letters when she went back to work at the camp as a Girl Scout camp counselor. So I can't wait. I want to send them to her because now her granddaughters are getting to the age of scouting. So you have brownies and up to seniors. Oh, cool. Best time I ever had was I was not only I grew up being troop mascot to all these guys, but then I was an explorer scout, which explorers and venture crews, they're co-ed branches of the Boy Scouts. So I was in those. So now, let's see, what else could we do today? Oh, my hands are still a little stiff. They were so bad after being outside that my fingers just did this. So I could do nothing the rest of yesterday. So from like, I went out there at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And so from like well, by the time I came back in, it was 4:30. From 4:30 on until about 11 last night, my hands just, they were a mess. And they'd been hurting for a couple of days. When you get a sudden barometer drop like that, like this storm has done to so many of us, check in with anybody who's got arthritis, because they may need your help just even opening up the simple stuff. Yes, Lisa, I try to check in, but I try to keep moving. There's a lot here to empty out. Excuse me. Take out a log that had a pocket of snow. It's called, oh no. Oh my goodness. You know, I've done that. Or I had to use a set of tongs and I was at a friend's house and her husband was not there. And she thought it would be nice if she started a fire in the fireplace while my mother and I were there. But she didn't know to open the flue. The smoke started filling the house. So there I am with a pair of tongs taking the wood out back and dropping it in the snow out on the patio. Yeah. So I think when I checked my pirate ship, everybody but one had gotten their packages. So I hope everybody liked their packages, that it managed to get out. Yeah, we used to do that. We put one big log on to last the night and shut the screen and go to bed. And nowadays they're like, oh, you can't go to, you have to put the fire out. I'm like, no. Now, what I like to do, and I still have one bucket of coal left. You heard me, coal. Because I would put a lump or two of coal in the fire, and then as it died down, the ashes then are covering the piece of coal, because I would put the coal not on the top of the grate, but I'd put it under the grate. So as the fire, whatever was left of the logs that were there, they'd put a nice layer of ash. So in the morning, you go poking around with the poker, you can get pieces of coal out and they're still hot. And I could restart the fire without using a match, just from using those hot pieces of coal. And usually because there still was some warmth from that, you usually would find the cat and the dog curled up in front of the fireplace at night in the morning. Yeah, we haven't had a fire in that fireplace in we had a way to it before I had to empty the storage unit. So when did I end up leaving the art museum? Michael was a sophomore in high school, so it's been 10 years, I think. A little more than that. It's been at least 10 years since we've been able to use the fireplace, because once I had to empty the storage unit, this place was higher pile than it is now, but it's still just as long a pile. I wish we had that. The bedroom I'm in used to have in it what they called a bucket a day. So it would have had this little tiny coal stove. And that was because before the house got extended in 1935, that room was the linen closet room. So basically it was where all the ironing was done. And so there would be a little thing there where you could heat up the iron. And but boy, those things could provide a lot of heat. Someday I would love to get an insert for this fireplace, because we used to be able to we had this great kind of grate that was pipes that went this way. And so it would suck heat in at the bottom and then throw heat out at the top. And if that was going all day and it wasn't bitter cold like now, you could actually heat the first floor, because my mom would put a box fan at this end, because the whole first floor is like a figure eight with a tail, because the playroom. So the playroom would get cold, but you'd have to shut the door to the playroom. There'd be a box fan at this doorway, at the back end of the living room, and the ceiling fan in the kitchen would be on. And it would be enough to circulate the air enough to keep the first floor reasonably warm. And that'd be great. But the ceiling fan, some kind of set circuit went, and it's the same circuit for the light as for the fan. So it was a question of, do you want a light or do you want a fan? Well, I want a light. So that fan doesn't work. And now with all this stuff in here, there's not going to be a fire in that fireplace for a while. Your aunt had a coal stove. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yep. You heat water, you put a small pot on with some, always, because it gets dried out in the house in the wintertime. My mom used to put a pan sometimes out in the hallway radiator with a little water in it. And but that was the radiator that always got all of our coats. You'd come in and your coat would be wet, your shoes would be wet. Come on, you. And it'd be funny, because with all us kids, there'd be a whole lineup of shoes stuffed underneath that radiator. Because, I mean, 6 kids. The minute you got more than 4 pair of shoes under there, and a pile of mittens and scarves, and all lined up on that radiator in the hallway, because that one was always the one that got the hottest in the whole house. I guess because it's the first one on the loop, because it's like right there. The heater's underneath the mantelpiece back here. So the heater's right over there, and so one of the first radiators that's in the loop for the 1911 stuff is that hallway one, because it starts there, then goes, the pipes disappear, so they go upstairs, because the kitchen's on the 1935 loop. So it goes up, well, one kitchen radiator, and then it goes upstairs to my room, and then goes to the front room, the front bedroom, so it goes under the floor. And then, because you could tell there's a warm spot in the room that's going to become the Black Hole Challenge room, that's going to become my office, which has to happen this year. And then it comes down to the dining room and then goes across and hits the living room one up there and then goes back to the heater. Now that's the 1911 loop. It's the oldest loop. The guy told me when he came, he's like, considering how old the system is, he says, we probably should, in the warmer weather, he showed me how to do it. We should drain the system. We should drain it and flush it, because I don't think it's been flushed. The guys who put the new heater in 2021, they didn't flush the system. So he said, you should probably drain it and flush that sucker and get as much gunk out of it and from the decades, and it'll probably work a little bit better. Yeah, it is such a quick dry for mittens to put stuff on a radiator. Now, the 1935 loop does this whole back part of the house, and the radiator that gets the hottest is the back bathroom upstairs, and it's right there by the toilet. So sometimes you sit down, you got to make sure you watch where your leg is or your hip, because that can be trouble. Yeah, lime and sediment build up. Now imagine the amount of sediment from 1911. Though I know it got drained when they took out the converted coal burning furnace. I know it got drained then, because I remember seeing sludge come out of the pipe. They had to take a blowtorch in our basement to get that thing out of here. That thing was massive. Oh, yeah. Oh, oatmeal is one of the best things you can have if you're cold, because you need something that's going to stay in your stomach a little bit. It takes a little while for that to break down. Plus, your body needs that little bit of fuel to keep you warm, because it's burning that off. We learned that in Boy Scouts. Watered down. You don't want it real thick. Watered down oatmeal. Hot oatmeal is a good thing if you start getting too cold. You're lagging? Well, that's okay, Nancy. Quite a few people are lagging. From this weather and the wind, there have been quite a few people who've been having problems. Grits with butter and cheese. Okay, here's a question. Is cream of wheat just grits? Is cream of wheat grits? I don't mind cream of wheat. We had a choice as kids. Our oatmeal could either have butter in it or sugar in it and a little milk. It couldn't have both. So I don't tend to put any sugar in my oatmeal, just some butter. Okay, so they're not the same thing. Okay. I had some fool tell me they were, and I'm like, I remember eating grits on family vacations, especially the further south we went. You knew you were in the South when no matter what your meal was, this little side dish of grits came with it. That was Tennessee, Kentucky, well, southern Kentucky, all through Tennessee. Yeah, grits just came with the meal. Breakfast, lunch, or dinner, didn't matter. Grits came with the meal. I'm actually looking for, speaking of restaurant ware, those little side dishes, those little bowls that were only like the size of a little bit bigger than a tennis ball. They were only about that big around, but they were, about an inch and a half deep. I have some that I've used for the kittens as their food bowls. But around here, some people have big feet and have stepped on them and broken them. So I don't have any extras left now, because I was also using them for the cats outside, but the raccoon has knocked it off the porch a couple times, so they've broken them. So I only have 2 left for out there, 1 for Rory, 1 for Shadow, and I have just 5 for the kittens. And so I need to find some more of those. Oh, okay. Yellow or white corn. All I know is the mouse that got into the pantry really, really, really liked that cornmeal my son had. He made some dish and he needed to have cornmeal, so he bought some. And I told him at least put it in a plastic bag before you stick it on the pantry shelf because you want to keep it fresh. But we had a mouse get in and we could hear it in there every once in a while when it was quiet. Well, the kittens finally got it because they were smaller. They would hear it, but they didn't quite catch on to what to do. Well, then they finally figured it out. But when I got in there in beginning of November and really started emptying out, started going through what was in there, looking for stuff to see for a live sale or what should go on eBay, looking for the winter kitchen curtains, and because I knew they were stored in there. And I look and I go to move something. Oh, I went to move something so I could put a couple of cans on a shelf, and that dang mouse had a field day because it got into the bag that was the cornmeal. So that was all over behind everything. And apparently, before then, it got into a box of cake mix and had knocked that onto the floor. So it was all over the floor. So while it was meant to be just a little job of sorting out some stuff in there, I got all the way down to floor space and had a clean floor and swept it all out. The good part is that I cleaned a bunch of stuff out of there. The bad part is that now I have 4 boxes of stuff for eBay and has that I need to get listed. But it's a start. That's the one challenge here is that you can never stay at one spot and just work on just that spot because it's like that sliding puzzle thing is that okay, well now I got to go work over here. Oh, this has happened. So now I got to go deal with this and it's a problem. And then Mike helped when I had the relapse with my spine and he moved a bunch of stuff. And that's why there's some people, bless your hearts, who it's been a year now since you got your stuff. I still have the notes. I still have it all, but I only just found some of it because he put it in the box, put it on the bottom of the pile, and then stacked all these empty boxes and packing supplies on top of it. Yeah, so I've just now found stuff from a year ago. I knew it had to be somewhere. I knew because I'd found stuff from 6 months ago from the second time he did this. And I'm like, I still have this stuff on my packing list. I've not found it. And this is not good because this means this is sales that I'm going to lose probably, which is not in any way anybody's fault, but the circumstances here. So it's no harm, no foul to any of the buyers. It's absolutely not their fault. But it just was the circumstances of him trying to make it easier when I had to walk with a walker. And then when I had the relapse, it was back to using the cane and my balance wasn't so good. And he tried to do the right thing. But instead of putting them to the side, he put everything in one spot. And those things ended up being on the bottom. So, it is what it is. And anytime you have that happen in your life, you're going, and especially if you're cleaning out your own stuff, whether it's going through a drawer, cleaning out your desk, you're gonna find stuff where you go, oh, that's where that got to. And you just go, okay, you know what? It is what it is. And you get on it. There's a Japanese phrase for it. I can't pronounce it though. I can't get my tongue quite around it. But it basically means the same thing. That it means technically, I think it means it can't be helped. It's basically the attitude that some things are what they are. You just accept it. It's like little kids have this great capability of just accepting something and then just letting it go. And we need more of that, especially when you get overwhelmed by stuff like this, where it's like, okay, you know what? This is where it is now. It is what it is. We just move forward. So not bad thought for to end the year on. Because in my mind, the year ends with Christmas Day. The New Year's for me has, for some reason, has always started the next day. So New Year's, I always ended up working New Year's. New Year's was never the big deal for me, but Christmas Day was. So thank you, Linda, and Merry Christmas and welcome. So how do you measure your year? What's your marker point for your year? Because I know for not everybody, it's not always New Year's. I mean, that may be the calendar year. I know there's many a teacher that September, or some places now, some school districts have backed it up to the end of August. But when school starts is the marker for their year, of when their year starts. So what is it for you guys? What's the marker for you? To me, it's Christmas Day. You know, you hit Christmas, and then like the day after Christmas to me is the beginning of my next year. Oh, Lou, that's awesome. I'm still looking. I'm still looking for my first stuffed animal. So, in this house was a stuffed toy that had a music box in it, and it's a turtle. And it has the music box and has this little bar that would go up because the neck would go around like this as it played music. Well, one time it stopped playing music, so mom took it all apart and it just needed to be cleaned. So she cleaned out the music box because over the years the stuffing turns to powder and it got inside. She cleaned that out. The music box works, but the turtle, she just took the seam open, took all the stuff out. So somewhere there is the music box, which I've seen in the past. I know it's still here. I think it might be in her china closet. But where the hell is the body? I've seen it. I know before she passed, it was still here. Where is the body? And I'm really, really hoping that when my sister came and helped me in the dining room and just decided for me what to throw away, I'm really praying she didn't throw away the body. I really hope she didn't throw away the body. It may seem such a silly thing to her because she don't really like anything old, but to me it means something. And so I'm really hoping I find it again as we get through this stuff. And I will restuff it and put it back together. Because it was stuffed with that stuff called kapok, which is something from a plant or a tree. But over the decades, that was, some of it would just turn to like little bitsy pieces. Yeah, you're like me, Linda. Yeah. See, I'm that way. It's like, to me, that's because I don't know if it's because Christmas was such a huge deal. Um and in this family, I mean, it was such a big deal growing up. It was such a big deal in my 20s. And then working all those years of retail, everything was geared towards Christmas. All that energy and everything else was to Christmas. And so it really kind of marks the end of the year for me. So I'll be right back. I have to take a break. I am drinking all this tea after all. I will be right back, guys. Oh, if I can get out of here. I have a box of stuff in the way. There we go. I'm back. I knocked the Christmas paper over. Hang on. Oh. Ah. Not quite there yet with those spine shots. They take a little bit. They take a little bit of time. So some of you, when you get your packages, you're still going to be getting Christmas wrap. Because I have some things already wrapped up, but just ran out of time to get them shipped before Christmas. So, all right. Yeah, so I really need a good planner. I know Sarah from Thrift U was gonna make me one, and it's a shame. Like every time I think of emailing or calling somebody, I'm either not near the email because like I know if I'm on the laptop, it would just automatically like fill in and I would have it, but I don't have that on my phone. So yes, Linda, your lovely little Jamaica painting with the palm tree. I haven't forgotten palm tree. That is one of the things that I found that's a box from just a couple of months ago when I had the second relapse that Mike, to keep everything safe from the kittens, put everything in a box. That's one of the boxes I just found recently. So Linda, your stuff is not forgotten. And actually, now I have to rewrite this. My plan was yesterday to rewrite this packing list, but my hands hurt so badly from letting them be out. I mean, I was in my, you guys, I know some of you haven't seen these. I got these at Hot Topic years ago. I love them. But these are my fingerless gloves. I was outside trying to hammer little tiny tack nails in to keep that plastic on that window for the basement where it had just completely fallen apart. In the summer, if I can get funds together, I will get glass block, and I know how to do cement work. At least, I mean, glass blocks are no different than laying bricks. So I will fill that window in because it's not one we need access to. But this was my 7-page packing list, and I am now down to, I think when I transfer everything over, it will be down to 4 pages. And Linda, darling, I know you are still on here. I know exactly that you are still on here. No, you're not on page 7. You're further back than that. Hey, has anybody seen Book Bewitched? I have not seen her in ages. Yep. Jamaica art, when you sale from Sandy and Otto. Yep, I gotcha. Gotta get it packed up to send it to Vermont. So, oh yeah, I have it all. But like I said, I've had 7 pages, and as I made it past the relapse, I was focused that this November and December was just focus on packing, get it all straightened out. And then your box and a box from even further back, I just friggin' found just 2 weeks ago. So, so anybody who's watching, no, I have not forgotten you. Have not forgotten you at all. It's all still there. I just feel bad because I know there's viewers I've lost, but it's not their fault. None of us expected me to trip in my own yard, land in such a way that I dislocated my left hip and pinched 2 nerves in my spine. I still have 1 pinched nerve, and apparently I have a compressed disc. Not happy about that. She's taking some time off. Okay, because I sent her a Christmas card. Now she may not have gotten it yet, because I only sent it Tuesday. I think Tuesday I sent it, and probably didn't get to a mailbox until Wednesday. Um, just because I hadn't seen her and heard her, and I was going through that packing list, and I don't have anything for her. Hers had been sent off, but I was like, oh, you know what? I haven't seen her in a long while. And the last time I hadn't seen anybody in a long while that I usually would run into in the chats was Terry Candelora, and I had finally heard back because I'd been talking to her on the phone weekly for the better part of this year, and here she passed away at the end of October. And I know Book had some health issues too, so I was getting worried. So, but we are and it's funny. It's like the resale community is very vast. I mean, there are people who do eBay or just Etsy or Mercari, who do just clothing, who do modern stuff, who do vintage stuff. And there's a lot of us that like have little threads out to all the different communities. And I know quite a few, like Philly Flipper and Mountain Man Treasures, and they primarily are eBay resellers. So they don't do live sales on YouTube. But then there's the vintage community, which does a lot of live. There's a lot of vintage live sellers on here on YouTube, and so we all there's some people that are in the chats that bounce around to a lot of us. I saw Jennifer Hayes pop in at one point, and I know I've seen her on quite a few. But you see certain names for so long, and you get to be friendly with everybody, and you kind of know each other. I mean, you don't know each other close most of the time, but you know of each other. So then when you don't see somebody, you wonder. We're close knit, even though we don't all live near each other. But we're all kind of close knit. And I have to go back because I couldn't stay up and watch all of it. On Sandy and Otto last night, Blackie Jr. Lim, our one and only Fiona in Singapore, was live on Trisha's channel last night. I got to see a little bit of it, but I have it on my watch list because later today I'm going to put that on and just let it play so I can hear everybody that stopped in. Katie at Vintage and Vinyl had a Christmas Eve party, and I got to stop in at that, but I didn't get to stay very long at that either. So, so I have two of them that I absolutely definitely want to go back and see, but yeah, Fiona is another one that, even though she's in Singapore, she has stuff sent to me, and then I pack it all up and just send things as one box for her. And I need to, can I do this on this phone? Who sent me a text? Please tell me there's not a problem. This must look really strange to you guys. Oh, okay. My sister, I will have to check that. She doesn't know I'm live. My sister doesn't watch my channel. My sister sent me a text. I was afraid it was the lady who's cooking us a turkey. Oh wow, Mimi's Treasure Cottage has a retail store close to where she was living. Oh, that's cool. She also had to empty out a house that was stuffed. It was her father? Some family member, and she has some videos on her channel where she had to Mimi's Treasure Cottage had to empty out garage and the house, and it was packed. It was packed. My thing is like mine, some of it's just like willy-nilly everywhere, but other stuff, it's all in boxes. It all just depends on, was it already here in the house beforehand, or oh, and now that we have a dryer working again, watch for vintage clothing to start showing up in my Either eBay or Etsy. Okay. Did any of you ever sell vintage clothing? Which site would be the better of the two? eBay or Etsy? Hello, Randy. Merry Christmas. I know I've always done better with craft things on Etsy, but I don't know. I don't know about the vintage clothing. I'm just not sure what to do with that. And there's going to be a lot of it. And that cedar chest, when I do the bottom part of the cedar chest, that will be a live. There's other furniture that has to move out of the way before we could really do that one. Yeah, now see, I haven't had problem with eBay for like the smaller stuff, the pop culture stuff. The clothing is a whole other realm. Absolutely whole other realm. So I'm just not sure. And I think on eBay, the modern clothing is just so predominant. And also I know when I get to the attic, there's a giant steamer trunk up there that's full of baby clothing from the early 1950s and late 40s. Oh, well, Noelle's an expert on a lot of stuff. I'll have to talk to her. There's a friend of mine that has an eBay store that she does just vintage clothing, but a lot of her stuff isn't as old as this. Let me see if I can find Rebecca's. I mean, because she doesn't always have a chance to find stuff that is from the 40s. Most of her stuff is 60s, 70s, 80s. And man, the 80s stuff is coming back. Has anybody been clothes shopping in Target lately? Oh my goodness. That stuff, I was really surprised at that. There's some stuff I saw and went, oh no, that's absolutely from the 80s. Go away. Go away. I honestly am waiting for the 80s stuff to show up. And where the devil is her channel? I know I had saved it. I'm waiting to see what are they? Leg warmers. Leg warmers show up again. That would be scary. That would definitely be scary. Now, why can't I find? Well, darn. I don't know. I don't know if there is a place for that near me. And there's none that I know of in Delaware County. There might be some up in Philly. Okay, I found Rebecca's. That's the Facebook page. There's got to be a link here to her about. Yeah, you say saved seller, but you're not showing up in my saved list. She had, I don't know where she got her hands on it. She had a fantastic vintage 1890s dress that she had me help authenticate for her, because that's one thing with having a mother. Rebecca's retro. There we go. I think I spelled Rebecca wrong. But there's the link for that. My mother had sewn for a costume shop that was in Media, PA, called Stern's. And Stern used to buy up, if museums were closing, he would buy up the vintage clothing. And I played as a kid underneath a whole rack of Civil War ball gowns. And I had some fabulous buttons, because if the buttons fell off, he didn't care what they went through. He would just throw them in a drawer. And he used to let me keep one for every like 5 or 6 that I found. And so I had some fabulous Civil War buttons, and I sold a couple of them. There was a button store up in New York that I found online back in the early days before eBay, and they bought a bunch of the buttons. It helped pay, and that helped pay for getting me to London. That was great. Yes, I've heard that too. The stirrup pants have come back. I know when I had stirrup pants, you know how they always had that nasty seam that went right under the arch of your foot? My mother used to actually cut that off, because with the serger, they always use a serger to sew the clothing. It would make that lump. So she would take that part, cut it off, and then sew it on the sewing machine. And then, of course, you've got the two, you sew it, but then you got these 2 flaps of fabric. So she basically would take them and she would flatten them out and then stitch those edges down. So you had this nice flat piece then underneath your foot. So I never had problem with them hurting my feet. Mind you, I only had 2 pair. But she would always redo the bottoms. And then once I started showing my friends would come over, and they'd pay her $5 to redo the bottom part, the stirrup part, on all their stirrup pants. $5 a pair. She made quite a bit of money off my friends. But yes, stirrup pants was what I had heard. And there was something else that somebody had said. Now, I know I saw a thing that said mullets were coming back, and I'm like, good Lord, no. You don't need to bring that back. You don't need to bring back the high hair up to here either. No. Mind you, Aquanet would still have a sudden surge in sale prices. You know, are they still around? Because you needed your Aquanet to hold that hair in place. You definitely needed that. Oh. Lorac. You're not a name I recognize. Hello and welcome. But yeah, stirrup pants. We were talking about this at tea on Sunday, because a couple of us from the there's a community theater group here that had an excellent kids program, and we all were. I think we figured it out that I was like the 2nd generation that went through it, and then some of them there were the 3rd, and then one person in this group was like the 4th generation of kids that went through it. And so we had all gotten together and went to see another friend, one of the guys who was in It's a Wonderful Life. I've never sat through that whole movie. I don't like it. I know I'm in the minority. I know. I don't like that movie. But they did it as a play. But the play, the way they did it was interesting, because they did it as if it was an old radio show. So they had the big floor mics and everything. So every single actor had to, even the kids, had to play multiple parts. So you had to actually see them make the effort to transform themselves from one character to another, either with the body language that they showed or putting on a different hat. And so they always had like the same costume, but to see that change right in front of you was very well done and really interesting to watch. So that was kind of fun. Oh, the Queen, yes, Her Majesty. She's off. Where are they? Are they at Windsor? At Sandringham this year for Christmas. But she's off. She's off to go visit the relatives. I had to put the wig and the tiara away to keep it away from the kittens. So she will have to make more appearances. She's quite popular. She'll definitely have to come out for Valentine's Day. I mean, she's got to come out as the Queen of Hearts, right? She's got to. She's got to. So she has to come back. If not before that, she's got to come back for Valentine's Day. Just because I think it'd be a riot just to have her around for that holiday. So she started off on Trisha's channel on Sandy and Otto for Halloween a year ago. And that's where she was born. And then she was supposed to come on. I had wanted to do a slumber party when I hit my 1,000, but my back, the spinal problems said, no, you're not. So I never had a party for hitting my 1,000. I wanted to have a big pajama party. And I had lined a few people up, like Katie from Vintage and Vinyl was coming. And so there were Angela from Dear Angela's Vintage. And I think Vinny had said he would at least stop in. But then my spine just went, you're not doing this. And I had planned on having the Queen there. So she had not appeared on my channel. She was then again this year on Trisha's Halloween sale that weekend. And then she was on for my birthday. So for my birthday was the first time she was on my own channel. I hadn't had her on my own channel since then. The kitties are now blessedly sleeping. They're upstairs right above my head. They're all in Michael's room because they will lounge up there. They love it. He's got a queen size bed and they just dive into his comforter and it'll just be a puddle of kittens usually, except for Frodo. Frodo is very much independent little guy. He will just sleep. He doesn't usually sleep in the puddle of fur that is the other kittens. He will usually be off somewhere by himself. Arwen also about half the time will be off somewhere by herself to sleep. She doesn't often curl up with her brothers. But usually the three of them, Gimli, Aragorn, and Elrond, and it's really apparent that Aragorn is, I don't think Aragorn can leave. I really question his adoptability. He seems to be very bonded with Gimli, and any noise, like when we had the winds whip through the first night this storm went through, we had gusts up to 50 miles an hour. There was stuff like the bicycles that were on the porch and they're on their tarp. Well, they fell over and you never saw a more frightened cat in your life. The neighbors behind us have a little girl who's 5 or 6, and there's some plastic toys out there, like a fake kitchen kind of thing, and a little pedal car she can run around in. But there was this little metal framed seesaw thing for her and her sister, and that flipped over, and the other two things hit the tar out for the driveway that comes all the way around to the back of the house, and you could hear it scraping across the tar as it went. And those kittens were all like, what? He was so scared. He came around, he jumped onto my shoulder. He never does that. He, not only when I grabbed him, I hold him like this, he was diving his head under my elbow. He was trying to hide. He is so frightened of everything. Every little noise. He's so frightened, and he comes looking right for me if something scares him. I don't know what's going to happen with him the first time there's a good loud thunderstorm. So I don't know that Aragorn is a cat that comes finds you like that when they're anything frightens them when they're that timid. It's very hard to adopt them out and have it be a successful adoption. Arwen and Frodo have, while they like cuddle time, it has to be on their terms. They have to come to you. They'll sit there and they'll curl up in your lap or they'll curl up next to you and just sit there and watch TV with you. But it's always got to be on. They're very much independent on their own, so they're going to be adjustable and not be a problem. But Aragorn, I'm not so sure. And Elrond has bonded with me, and Michael's got Gimli. Gary would like us to keep Frodo, but Frodo's adoptable, and I don't think Aragorn is. So we waited till after Christmas. So come the beginning of January, I'm going to get photos up onto Forgotten Cats Facebook page again and see still about getting at least 2 of these kittens adopted because it's killing me. The money that should be spent on bills and the house is feeding 6, 7. Well, you figure there's 5 kittens, there's the doctor, and then Shadow and Rory, because they never came and trapped Shadow and Rory to try to get them into foster. So that's a lot of cats to feed. That's a lot. It's not cheap. But you do what you can do, you know. Gimli thinks the vacuum cleaner is something to attack. Frodo goes to the top of the stairs and just watches me, or the top of the bureau, or chest of drawers, or wherever he can get where he's away from it, but he will watch it. Elrond disappears. Gimli thinks he should attack the hose. Gimli's a handful. But yeah, Arwen doesn't like the noise. Elrond doesn't like the noise of a vacuum. And Aragorn will vanish. Like, yeah, I can find Arwen and Elrond. They'll just go to another room. And you walk in, you turn the vacuum cleaner off, you walk in, and oh, okay, they might be in the cat tower in the kitchen, looking out the window at the bird feeder, whenever there's anything in there. But Aragorn, he will vanish. He will hide. He won't come out for at least half an hour after the noise of the vacuum stops. Absolutely no. Can't stand the vacuum. He's terrified of it. Let a motorcycle go down the street that's really noisy. Where's mom? Where's my mom? You know, I can't imagine if a fire truck goes down the street what he's going to do. I had him outside on the leash because we're leash training Gimli because he's a door dasher. And Jackson Galaxy has a YouTube channel. He is the guru of cats. If you have a cat that is a door dasher that keeps trying to go outside, by all means, get a harness, get a leash, train them to go outside on a leash because they want the excitement. They want to be out there. He hasn't left the property so far, but because usually we go out with, if he gets out, we're right away out trying to catch him. But he just wants to run and zoom around the yard and investigate the yard. But sooner or later, he's going to want to hop the fence and go investigate the neighbor's yard, or hop that fence and go investigate that yard. We're on a busy street. I don't want to lose another cat. Gary has let enough cats out of the house. I've lost enough cats. I don't want to lose any more cats. So we're trying to train Gimli for the harness and the leash. I need the and Mike said after the holiday, after he's paid for Christmas, right, he's going to go get one. You need, for a cat, it's better to have not a standard straight length dog leash. It's better to get those ones that it's the big coil and it can extend out, because they do need a bit more space to be able to go and see stuff. Now, that would help a lot when Gimli tries to climb the tree out front. There is a Kwanzaa cherry tree, and a Kwanzaa cherry tree doesn't necessarily go like this and then bloom out. They go like this. So it's a very low main trunk, and the branches are like right there, and so he can hop into it, and at that point he's like chest high and the branches spread out, and then he tries to go up, and that's a problem. I don't. I could not put Aragorn in a place where he's outside like that. We've had him outside on the harness. He's absolutely terrified. He has never tried again to go out that door. He tried to follow Gimli out, and so we took him out on the leash, and he was so terrified that he not only had his tail between his legs all the way up his tummy, he wet himself. He was so frightened that, he was already scared, and then somebody went by with a car that had the jacked up mufflers, and that was that. He wet himself, and he's not tried again to go outside. He's never gonna be an outdoor cat. He's too scared. Gimli would be great, but Gimli is Michael's baby. Gimli has attached. He sleeps with Michael now. Michael's now been leaving his door open, so Gimli sleeps with him. And of course, they all go in there, but Gimli is always like right there for Mike. Mike comes in the door, Gimli's right there. Follows him upstairs. So we are into the last roughly 10 minutes. Because this would be 2 hours. I hope you've enjoyed the little chat. It gives a lot of people a chance to have somebody come in and say hello. You don't have to be in the chaos of, if you have dinner with the family and kids and there's all that hustle bustle, it gives you a chance to have a quiet morning start. So I hope you've all enjoyed that. Oh, yep, thumbs up. But I just thought it'd be a nice way to have some interaction in the morning, because there's so many of us, because of the weather that's hit so much of the country, that they're stuck at home, and all the plans for Christmas may have had to be put on hold or dropped altogether. And so this way, you didn't have to spend Christmas morning alone. You had somebody say hi to, and I hope you have a good day. Christmas can be difficult for some people, for so many reasons. And sometimes if it's alone for that day, we have this expectation that the whole day should absolutely be about, oh, you have to get together with people, you have to have family, you have to do that. No, you don't. No, you don't. But usually it is a day off if you're working. So for many people, it is a day off. So maybe it's a day to treat yourself. Whether you have family to go to or not, if for whatever reason you're home and it's Christmas Day, treat yourself. Do something you haven't done in a while. Take a bubble bath. Soak in a hot tub. Bake yourself a tray of cookies, whatever. Treat yourself today. Take care of you today if you've had to postpone Christmas or not. Just take the rest of the day for yourself. If you want to spend the afternoon reading a book, do it. Watching movies, whatever, do it. Enjoy the day. Because the whole point of Christmas is, it was the biggest gift in the world was the fact that it was a gift of love. If you're Christian, it's about the birth of a baby. What bigger gift of love could there be that the idea that the Father gave up the Son to the world? So, love yourself. Give yourself some time today. Do something special for yourself. So I know later I have somebody sent me, they're out in the kitchen. A friend sent me from California their decals for on your nails, and they're all Christmas ones, and I haven't had time to do my nails, so hopefully today I'll have a chance to do my nails and actually have them done with little Christmassy things. I hope there's a snowman in the pack. I forget if there is or not. So we have 10 minutes. I'll be right back. All that tea. Oh, bathroom break. Okay, I'm back. You know how it is. Sometimes your body says, no, you're not waiting another 10 minutes. Hello, Kathy. How are you? And Leslie. Hello, sis. Hello, hello. Give that tall husband of yours a hug for me for Christmas, and yourself, and then the kids. So, I'm sorry you guys couldn't come down and kidnap me with all the stuff that went on with Mike's car and everything else. So, it's just as well because I need to have my spine shots before I go staying anywhere else overnight. So, so, yeah, I think Lou is still here. We have 13 watching now. So, and I'm enjoying my Christmas present from Michael that came in the mail from Jania's. And I have a big thing of tea, which is why I had to head off to the restroom again real quick, even though we're in the last few minutes of this. So, you know, treat yourselves today. And this is all my little Christmas decorations. Because with the kittens, we figured no tree this year. So I have my little snowman assemblage, a little snowman. And the TARDIS, of course, is always going to be up. Even the TARDIS is actually in the plans. I know it's a birdhouse, but that thing's never going to see outside. It is just too cool. Well, you just might. It takes a couple days for and the shots were only, you know, the shots were only Friday morning. I'm still having a little stiffness and trouble first thing in the morning. It's real fun when you get out of bed and realize that your leg just has decided it doesn't want to hold your weight, and I ain't Tinkerbell. So, oh, that's good, Lou. That's so good that he's healed from the heart surgery. That's good to hear. That's very good news. So, yeah, this is going to be a hard Christmas because some people they've had some loss in their families. That's been a problem, and some quite recent. Someone I know has just recently lost both parents, and this close to the holiday, and it's just gonna be heart-wrenching. But you know, I made sure I let them know that you're not alone in this. You're not alone in this. I went through 11 funerals in 6 months. My dad was the first. I know every possible curveball that can come at you. And I was only 30. And that happens. So yeah, it'll take time to walk without that cane because having been somebody who's had to walk with a cane recently, um, you have the problem of you're unsure of your balance, so you hang on to that cane for as long as you need it. You ended up needing a hip replacement, Kathy? Yeah, I will eventually too, but they can only do that twice in one lifetime, and I'm only 57. So I need to treat that. I have stretches and exercises to do to try to get the muscles around that left hip stronger and stronger because they don't want to have to do a hip replacement on me. He said ideally they wouldn't do it before I was 65. We'll see what happens. Oh, you lost one of your cousins. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Kathy. Yeah, I haven't. Oh, one of my cousins is gone, but there's only one cousin that's near my age. Everybody else is all baby boomers and were several years older than me. Sandy was, I think, 4 years older than me, and Michael is a year or two younger. But everybody else was at least 7 to 10 to 12, maybe 14 years older than I am. So they were cousins, but they were already like adults, or close to it, way closer than I was. So yeah, we've lost one of them a couple years ago. Oh, I had to come eat all the cookies. Yeah. Hi, Tammy. Hello. Yeah. I had to call a friend of mine in North Carolina because his wife passed away, who was also a friend of mine. And I've been very remiss about not calling right away, but I wanted to be able to talk to him without crying. And I also, I know that's going to be because it's been a long while since I've talked to him. And I know it's going to be a while. And my hands literally couldn't hold my phone because they hurt so much. So I needed to wait until, all the meds and everything kicked in. So, oh, you got your bowls. Thanks. Oh, I'm so happy you got those. Oh, yeah, Leslie, you and I for decades have worked in retail at Christmas. It's kind of nice, isn't it? Kind of nice not to be working your tail off and being exhausted come Christmas Day. It's a nice feeling. It's a rare feeling because when Joanne Fabrics closed, because I stayed on as inventory control manager, they paid me a salary for a year. I didn't have to set foot in a store because I was willing to stay to the very end when they closed that store. It was the most generous package. I had my insurance for a year, I had my salary for a year, and so I didn't have to work that Christmas. It was beautiful, except for my mother, who did her usual thing of, I'm not going to wrap anything until Christmas Eve. And that was the year I said, enough's enough. We are not putting the tree up Christmas Eve. We're not doing that anymore. That's just crazy. You've had me come home for working at the malls and be exhausted and having to put up your tree and all your ornaments, get everything down from the attic. It was like a whole other job to do after doing the job, and working in retail Christmas Eve day is exhausting. Leslie and I worked together at a bookstore for a couple of years. We worked at Walden Books in a mall. And they're actually at that mall had two Walden Books, upstairs and down. And man, though I do remember I held the record of we would start on Black Friday. The challenge was, how many books can you find when a customer comes in and tells you, I don't know who wrote it, I don't know what it's called, but I know what the cover looks like. And your challenge is to find it so you can sell it to the customer. I held the record. I worked there for 8 years. I held the record. I did 4 of them. Found 4 books one year there where I was able to pinpoint it just from what the cover looked like. Cause man, oh yeah, you usually have to work till closing, and then it takes so much time to count everything up. We had it down to a science at Walden Books. It was great because now it depended on which manager was there, because one of them was slow. But back then, you used to have to separate all the credit card slips. Yes, you used to have them. You had to separate them by what credit card they were and make a nice little pile. You had to write out all the checks on the deposit slips because there were a lot of people that still wrote checks back in the 80s, in the late 80s. And then, so you had all that to do. We had 3 registers in the bookstore. So you learned what you could do early, and it served me well in later jobs because by the time I got to working at Wawa, I got to the point where I was running the register because I had to go back to the bottom of the totem pole after working at the art museum. So I was running register and we would close. I was in one of the small stores that actually wasn't a gas store, so they closed on Christmas Eve. And we didn't close until like 10 o'clock at night. And so it was like every manager or on duty would have a different way. And the corporate says we got to do this. I'm like, no. We have 3 registers, and all 3 registers have to have the money out of them and transfer it out. Don't worry about it. Just let me do it. Just let me do what I'm going to do. I've been in management in retail for too many decades. Let me do it. So by the time we got to 9:45, 2 registers would be closed. All the money would be out. All the change would be out because these fools always said, well, I'm going to have to count the change. I'm going to have to deposit the change. Why would you deposit the change? No, you put that change into the register as you go so that your last register, you use all that change. And if you have too much, you start giving people, I'm low on ones, have 4 quarters. You work it down. That's what you do. You work it down. And we would be out the door within 10 to 15 minutes. It'd be great. Deli would start closing at 9. By 8, you stop dropping food because they drop it in a hot water bath and has to cook for an hour. So by 7:30, 8 o'clock, you'd stop dropping. So as you sold out, that'd be it. It'd be done. So, and you close the deli half an hour before closing, so they had time to weigh everything and write off all the spoilage and set all that up to be closed, and we'd be ready to rock and roll and out that door. Gotta plan it ahead. So Bonnie has come in. Hello, CDC has come in. Merry Christmas to you both. Yep. So, birthday on April Fool's Day. Well, I'm glad none of us hit that one. So I was getting ready to leave at 1, and we have some new people coming in. So for those who, what did I do with it? Oh, it's way over there. I was going to show you my Christmas presents that came in the mail. This was one that Mike bought from Janiad's channel, and it's a lovely little holly, because I like the holly on the white. So he happened to be standing here and watching and talking to me, and her sale was running, and so he just had me buy it for it. So I got this lovely little thing. Let me get the other 2, and I'll show them to you. Where'd you go? I sat it somewhere safe. Oh, there it is. I sat the one somewhere safe. Actually, it is. I mean, that's the nice part. If they have this nice curve, though, this is kind of tiny. This is for some slim little finger. But these are nice to hold when they've got that nice shape, because your one finger goes under it and one goes through it. But this is kind of small. Now, this is Royal Albert Bone China Flower of the Month series. And this is holly. So I think these were made more as a collector's market as opposed to the serious use, because this sticks out. This little bit right here, this sticks out a little too far. And so it's like right against the cuticle. So that one's a little bit difficult because it's so tiny. But where did I put it? It's in here. There we go. Linda Shearer had sent me these wonderful little snowmen, because I love decorating with snowmen, because you can keep them up longer. You know, you have stuff up the month of December. Well, Santa's got to go away at the end of December. But if it's winter snowmen, you can get December and January out of it. But look at these vintage ones. Aren't they so cool? They're all on pipe cleaners, but it's all chenille arms and spun cotton heads. I think some were as well. There's a lot of reasons for that too. Nutrition wasn't necessarily as good as it was now, though a lot of our food has a lot of junk in it. But people were thin because they if you don't have a lot of the right nutrition when you're growing up, you can be really tiny and thin. Look at Audrey Hepburn. Everybody was, oh, she's so petite, so tiny. Yeah, that was because of malnutrition in her formative years. And she even had said that. That's why she became such a big advocate for fighting hunger amongst children throughout the world. But D Rose had something sent from a sale from Michelle of Comfy Cozy Living. It's a 1938 Boy Scout handbook. Oh, I was just like, the smile was huge. I was squealing like a little kid. Now, granted, I mean, this one's got some issues. It's been well loved by Fred. What do I say? Holliday. Fred Holliday. It's hard to read the cursive handwriting, but it's a 1938 Boy Scout handbook. So I was thrilled. That was just so cool. Hello, Jen. How are you? How are you? I could tell the wind's picking up outside. My fingers are starting to get cold, and so are my feet a little bit. But that big window, and the company, you know, you got to watch these companies that say, oh, well, we'll come in and do your windows and replacement windows. But then they subcontract out. And that one was put in incorrectly. It's crooked. And so there's a gap at the top. And I can no longer climb over the desk onto the chest of drawers to the window to tape the plastic over that. So it's letting some cold air in. So that one, I've called twice over the years, and I found the paperwork again when I did the kitchen hutch and cleaned that out. And I got to call them again and go, look, you guys need to, it's supposed to be lifetime guarantee. And twice I've called you, and twice who you said was coming out never showed. So fix this damn thing, because it's cold. And it makes a draft in here. when the wind blows real hard, it makes a draft in this back end of the living room. So they need to fix that. I'm tired of having to put plastic over what had been a new window on an old house. I could understand it if it was one of the original windows at the front of the house, because I'm not replacing the 1911 windows with all the wavy glass and bubbles, and I'm not replacing that. So, so my hands are getting a little cold. So we got quite a crowd. Now we're up to 21. Oh, you took a long walk in the cold? Oh, darling, how could you? Oh my goodness, how could you? I was out in the cold yesterday just because of a basement window problem, and I had to tap little nails in to hold plastic over the boards to cut the draft to the basement because the glass was out of the window. And came back in, and my hands were crippled the rest of the evening from being so cold out there. No, and I couldn't get warm. I finally gave up. That's why when I was at Trisha's, I literally was looking at my phone and was curled up with a heating pad under me, wrapped up in a sleeping bag with 2 wool blankets over top of me, and went, I love you people, but I'm not getting out of. She said, people can come on. Here's the link. And I'm like, nah, sorry, Trisha. I love you, but I'm not getting out of my burrito, my blanket burrito to be live on your channel. I was just too cold. I couldn't manage. I cannot. I would love to go for a walk. It's a nice, bright, sunny day, but it's just too dang cold out there. And I don't want another day of my hands hurting that badly again. So no. Mind you, I was out there with the fingerless gloves because I needed to, I was using these little short little nails. So to tack it, they were just tack nails to just tack it on into place. So I get that. I mean, my fingers, the skin was basically exposed, and it was the high yesterday was 12. So yeah, with a wind chill, it was like 0. So it was not fun. Yeah, I'm layered up now. I've got my long johns on, wool socks on, long john top underneath there. I've got a wife beater t-shirt on underneath that, and I've got the sweater on. So Mike was laughing though, because he's like, when you purged your closet, maybe you purged a little too well, because you guys for the winter are going to see me in about the same couple of outfits, because a lot of the wool sweaters I had finally bit the dust. I hate clothes shopping. And so if I could afford it, I used to buy, like, if it came in multiple colors, I would buy multiple colors. You can't do that with tops as often, but I would do that with jeans all the time. But then they all self-destruct about the same time because you're wearing them all the time. So, but I had a few wool sweaters that finally, after all the years, they finally were giving up the ghost. And I couldn't patch up the holes anymore with little stitches. So yeah, you're going to see the same couple of sweaters a lot for the next 2 months. Oh, oh yeah. And take your time. If any of your plumbing has frozen up, take your time. Don't expect it to go quickly. You don't want the pipes to burst. And it's just as important to be careful with the hot water pipes as it is the cold, because the pipes get cold, and then if you run really hot water through then, that can make it try to expand too fast, and then it cracks, and then you've got a problem. That's right, Iris. Hello, darling. You see the same outfits? No biggie, because I need to be warm. My normal body temperature is only 96 degrees. It is not as warm as the rest of the world. It's because of being born with a heart murmur, and I never grew out of it. So I'm always just already only just a little above what I need to be, or a little under what I really should need to be. Hello, there's dear Angela's Vintage. I mentioned you earlier. I hope you're having a good Christmas day. And Iris has popped in too. So let's see. Now, I was about to leave. I can hang out for a little bit longer, but I should leave at 1:30 because The turkey is arriving sometime between 2 and 2:30. And I have a sink full of dishes to do because my brother apparently cleaned his room this morning and brought all the dishes down. So, who is live right now besides me? Sarcastic Storage Stacker. I don't know who that is. I don't think I've looked at his channel in a long while. But I don't see anybody else of the vintage community that I know. Wait, Jim Henson Company has a live. Jim Henson's company's 2022 Yule log Fraggle Rock. Oh my goodness. I vaguely remember Fraggle Rock. That's not one I remember. A lot of lives are Christmas music going on right now, but hey, you know. Stacy May is live? I thought I was subscribed to her. Yeah, how did I not be live for Catitude? Oh, those crochet earrings are cute. I thought I was subscribed to her. So yeah, Stacy May is live. And I'm gonna put her I'll drop a link here. We'll put hers in there. There we go. There we go. Iris, I don't think I've seen you in a while. How are you? How are you? How are you? You know, I was looking at my thing and I realized that I still have on my notes that you wanted the recipe for mayonnaise from my great grandmother's cookbook. And so I have to get that, find that and send it to you. Because I was getting ready to redo my I had, like I said, that packing list has all kinds of little notes and stuff on it. So, oh, I'm loving some of the craft stuff she's doing here on Catitude on Stacy May's channel. Those crocheted earrings, though, those look adorable. Those are so cute. So she's got some interesting crafting things. I never learned how to crochet. And I know there is crochet threads, spools of crochet thread here in this house somewhere. And I know there's crochet hooks of all kinds. And we'll find them eventually. I've slowly been putting stuff aside. Now, we all know a fabric sale will have to be coming up. But I have to have space to actually measure out what I've got. And I have to decide which fabrics. Hello, D Rose. Yes, there you are. Yes, darling. Yes, yes, I got it. I was so happy. I was so happy. It's 1938. Definitely well loved. And I have one of these, but not from, pretty sure not from 38. Because they used the same cover for quite a few years. But then it's all in the date that they have in here. Like the last date in here is 1938. And so they would tweak it. They sometimes would tweak it. So yes, I did. I opened it. I opened it live earlier. So thank you so much. It's so adorable. It's so adorable. Because I just, you know. I'm hoping in the spring to do Scouting Heritage Merit Badge again with my troop. And we have a different Scoutmaster this time. So from the last time I did it, which was Michael was still a Scout then. So I'm hoping that this time, this Scoutmaster will let me open it up to other troops in the area. Because one of the things that's a requirement is that you have to go see either a scouting museum or some scouting display. And so if we have a scouting display and have several of us there, not only do the kids have to put together their own small collection, but if we have some of us who are collectors there showing what we have, and I had arranged for that with one or two other adults that I know that had collections to show their stuff and talk about their stuff. If we invite other troops in, then they can do the rest of the merit badge with their own troop. But it's getting that one requirement of seeing a collection that's difficult to do. But I have a collection. So hopefully this time we can open up the doors to the other local troops. But I want to set that up in the spring and find a date where we can have the building and do that. So, oh yeah, I absolutely love it. I love it. So it's great. It's great. So there have been a couple of kids that I have very carefully like taken some of the older books, and I've let them. I stand there with them, and they don't get to take it home, and let them look through it at a scout meeting. Usually they're older kids, but it's been great. I've heard of that, about using the plastic grocery bags to make mats. Barbie clothes. No, my mother sewed a few Barbie clothes, but not many. Not too many. I don't have any of that. My sister took it all. I grew up playing with her red-headed, bubble-haired Barbie, and then when she had a daughter, she wanted her Barbie stuff back, which was fine, but I was at work, and my Barbie stuff was mixed in with it. And so, yeah, so she called me at work, found out I was at work, drove all the way down here, went into my room and took all the stuff out of the top of the closet and took it. So I don't have any of my Barbie stuff. I had my Cher doll because that was separate, and I had my Dawn doll because that was separate. But all the Barbie stuff is gone. It all went to her daughter. Um, Kind of a crap thing to do, but sadly that is the culture in the family sometimes when there's youngest kid, kind of, especially the more kids there are total. And I am the youngest of six. There can sometimes be the attitude of, oh, well, it doesn't matter because it's hers. And this is not just in my family. I have talked to people that I've met who were the youngest siblings in large families. And yeah, they are the one that's kind of looked over and told what to do, or told what to do with their stuff, or had decisions made for them just by virtue of the fact that they're younger. And it's usually with families where there's more than a 10-year age spread. So yeah, I've had that a lot. And the only one that kind of stuck in my craw was that she came and was my mother giving away my complete set of Revere wear, still in the original box that someone had gifted me. My mother gave away, and my sister with the Barbies. Didn't mind her having her own, but I would have liked to have gotten my stuff the hell out of the box. So those are the only two that have ever really stuck in my craw that I still kind of go, you know, I do love my sister, but that one just kind of, the lack of respect of you as a person, those are the kind of things that usually kind of stick in your craw for decades. Well, I mean, it depends. Like the oldest kids in our family, the oldest was a boy, and dad would give the oldest two anything they wanted. The rest of us, oh well, we're just there. That did a lot of harm too. So what I feel bad about is the oldest kids often get stuck being the built-in babysitter, especially if they're the girl. But that's also that's a double-edged sword between oldest and youngest. Is the youngest, you don't have to be babysitter to anybody. There's nobody after you. But I was 10 when the first niece was born. But the oldest kids kind of, oh, you have to look after your younger siblings, especially if they're a girl. And I know Phyllis had to do that to us a lot. She was expected to watch us. Yeah, see, I played with my brother's Matchbox cars, and I had my sister's Barbies to play with. Oh yeah, vintage Barbie stuff. And think of this, my sister had stuff from the 50s. I've told her a couple times. Now she lets her granddaughters play with them, and I'm like, those outfits. Forget the dolls. The outfits are where the money is. It's not the dolls that are worth the money. The money is in the outfits. My Cher doll, I sold my Cher doll for $5 because it just wasn't worth that much. But the outfits, especially if you have Cher doll, the Bob Mackie outfits, who was the designer for her, for Carol Burnett, for a lot of actresses, he designed some of the clothes were copies of designs he did for her show. So those outfits were, there were two of them. I got over $100 each for the outfits, and I had all the parts to the outfits, including the shoes, and the one outfit had a scarf with little tiny rings to it, and I still had those too. So oh, email me, Lulu. We'll figure something out. So I at some point have to get through the boxes from the. I don't think any of our Matchbox cars are worth anything because they were beat up in the bottom of the toy box, but they're still in boxes at my sister's house because some of my stuff is stored out there. When we had the leak in the playroom, some of it got out there. And the goal this year is I have to get all my stuff back from Philly Flipper before the end of January. So he jokingly said, "You've got 30 days. You got to get it out of there." And that was on Monday, I think he said that. So I've got to get all that stuff out of there. And then I also this year want to get all the stuff out of my sister's basement. There's a much, much bigger pile at Paul's. So, oh, goodbye, D Rose. Take care. Have a good holiday. Stay warm. So, and so it is coming up on 1:28. So I do have to go at 1:30 because since Gary left me the gift of a full kitchen sink full of dirty dishes, I need to get those dishes done before that turkey arrives, and the turkey will be being dropped off by Janice between 2 and 2:30. So, and I'll have to start cooking because I want to make mashed potatoes, and I haven't peeled them yet or anything because there was no way I was peeling anything with how much my hands hurt yesterday. That just wasn't happening. There was no way anything was getting made in advance. So, but bless her heart, she's the secretary at my brother's church and the church that I used to work as housekeeper. They would like me to come back. So in the new year, we'll see. I basically would be just going in, wiping things down, doing the dusting. No, I don't have a car. It's going to be a while before I can get a car. Right now, Mike still has the rental car because the collision place still hasn't gotten his car in. They didn't have a space to get his car in there. So I'm not sure what's going to happen after January 9th, because then that would be 30 days. So the rental car is only good for a month. So right now, that's the only car we have. And then once Michael's car gets fixed, that's the only car. So I've already told Gary, you're on Social Security disability and you've got a pension. So if anybody's getting a car, you are, because I'm just not going to be able to afford it yet. So, and I have bigger things to take care of, like taxes, heating oil. Mike's paying the electric and the phone, so I kind of like being warm. Oh, what's this? Poke holes in them and micro. I don't have a good history with poking them with a fork and putting them in the microwave. Mind you, if they explode in the microwave, they are amazingly fluffy. But that's not the way you really want them to do that. I poked them. I swear, I poked them with a fork. Poke, poke, poke. And a couple of them still exploded in the microwave. I haven't done it since. But boy, you know what? The stuff we cleaned out of there was the fluffiest of mush of potatoes you could ever want. Yeah, I so want an oven again because I want an oven to work because I am so much better at baking than I am cooking. Oh, so do it with a knife? Yeah, maybe that would be better. That's Mike's been talking about that because our microwave is very old. And Mike has thought about, because it's funny, it's like he's done the upgrades. The washer and dryer now, he's paid for them. We split the cost of the refrigerator. He picked it out, but we split the cost of that because I was still working at Wawa and did that. And then he was paying to get, he was talking about buying a new stove. And I'm like, but it's just the oven. But then the dryer went on the fritz. So he paid to get the dryer repaired. And that put the oven. So I didn't get a new stove for my birthday. Also because he got annoyed because they put it on back order, never told him. And they put it on back order from the last week of October. They said, oh, sometime maybe in December. So he's been doing all the upgrades. And so he's been wanting to get an air fryer instead of a microwave. So I don't know. You know, in Japan, they have the best stuff. So I was watching one of the, I think it was Charmeleon or Charmander. She changed the name. They have one that it's a microwave and an air fryer. It all just depends. It's all one thing. So it all just depends on the settings that you use. They have so much better stuff than we do in some ways. You know, they really do. So yeah, I'm thinking a toaster oven's more my speed. Especially as the lack of counter space in that kitchen. So there's really, it's not a modern kitchen. It is not. It is a 1930s badly laid out kitchen. But I am not, you can't square off the room because to square off the room means I would either have to get rid of the walk-in pantry or I'd have to get rid of the powder room on the first floor. I am not willing to give up either. I am 5'3" and shrinking because old age will do that to you. As you get older, you shrink. I've already lost an inch. I can't reach normal kitchen cabinets. I'm too short. So there's no way I'm giving up a walk-in pantry with shelving that starts at hip level. So no, I'm not giving that up. Friends of mine years ago was a TV show where it was trading spaces. I don't think is the right name, but you would get together with friends and the TV show, you would swap what room you did in each other's houses. And so they always kept saying, oh, we want to do the kitchens. And I'm like, okay, fine. That's all well and good. But Ron kept saying, oh, no, we got to square off that. You got to square off your kitchen. Your kitchen is these weird angles. You got to get rid of. No way in hell was I willing to do it. When the minute he started saying, we're going to rip out the pantry or rip out the powder, one of them's got to go. No, no way. Was not going to happen. So hopefully, either air fryer or a toaster oven. He saw one that was both an air fryer and a toaster oven. I think by Black and Decker. So we'll see what happens. Right now, he's got a lot of ideas floating around in his head. So we'll see what happens as the new year. Nothing's going to be done for the rest of this year because he's got to deal with the car and paying the deductible on the car. So yeah. So we'll see how that works. But my goal, I'm not worried about getting myself a car. Not yet. For that to happen, I need this overstuffed house. I need Tosh to become an actual full business model. And that means I need an office. That's the first thing for me. I need to get a PA reseller's license. I am definitely going to need to get a proper accountant and get all that kind of stuff squared away for 2023. and make this my full-time job. It was trying to get there this year, but this past year in 2022 was still trying to figure out what I can and cannot do with the pinched nerve in my spine. And we found out the hard way a few times, didn't we? At least I did, and you guys didn't see me for quite a few things. So, and at this point, I'm going to get a new roof on this house before I get a car. I can take the bus if I have to from 2.5 blocks. There's a bus stop right at the corner. It will go right on up to where the CVS is, which is the same shopping center as the post office. So I might have to walk 50 yards to the post office and then back to that corner to pick up the bus to come home. I can do that. I have no problem doing that. It's easy, straight run. I can do that. But I'd like to have a house that doesn't leak to the first floor. So to me, that's a priority before a car. So yes, it's going to limit what I can and cannot do for a while as far as just any other thing. But as long as Michael is still here, for a couple months at least, then he'll be able to get me to and from the grocery store and all that fun stuff. So, all right. Well, it is 1:37. I definitely need to go. I hope you all had fun. For those of you who came in later and want to see me reopen the packages, you can see that I did that towards the beginning. And for those of you who didn't have anywhere to go because of canceled plans or for whatever reason that you're home, I hope you realize you're not alone. There's a lot of us that are spending a quiet day at home because of weather, because of circumstance, because of family, whatever. So I hope you have a good day. I do need to get a wheeled shopping cart because Sam and Sam Meats is down the hill, and that's a small grocery store, but fantastic prices on lunch meat and meat, better than the grocery store, and partly because their poultry and their beef and their pork all comes in from farmers out in Lancaster County, and they do the butchering here. They do it at the place, so it keeps the cost down. But that's a heck of a hill. But I need to get one of those wheeled shopping carts, because then as the weather gets a little warmer, it'd be good exercise for me to walk down the hill and get it and then just come back up. Because we're not that far, because it's like 4 blocks door to door from my front door to Sam and Sam's, because they're on the other side of the shopping center, that strip of stores. So it'd be like the equivalent of 4 blocks and 1 steep hill. But I could do it. I just need the shopping cart. I got to find out where I get one of those. So, but anyway, have a good holiday. And if you are by yourself the rest of the day, do something to spoil yourself. I talked about that earlier. You know, the holidays are a time of love for one another, but don't forget to include some love for yourself. Even if that means just spending the afternoon reading your favorite book, watching your favorite movie again, you know, taking a hot bubble bath, whatever. Treat yourself today. So, ice packs and yeah, I have a couple insulated bags for the frozen stuff. So I could do that. And I know there's plenty of ice packs in the freezer in the basement, because that's where I store most of them, down there. All right, have a good holiday, and I hope the weather gets warmer. It's supposed to through most of the country. Is supposed to get warmer in the next couple of days. For those of you where, like in my area, they're talking about in the next 4 or 5 days, we're supposed to be up to weather in the 50s. I don't have snow outside, so that's not a huge problem for runoff, but a lot of areas got hit with a lot of snow, and if it warms up that fast, there's gonna be flooding. So take care, stay safe, stay warm, stay dry. And I will see you guys. I am still on because we're talking too much. I'm talking too much. So take care, and I'm trying to think when I will see you again. I will probably not be live this Sunday for a work with me. If I am, it'll be just a surprise off the cuff kind of thing. Simply because I don't know. Usually we go out to my sister's for her birthday because her birthday's the day after Christmas. And so I don't know. I haven't had a chance to talk to her. So I don't know if we're going out for lunch on Sunday or not for her birthday. So I don't know. And yes, I know, Lisa, I have to do my 15 questions challenge. I get that done today. But first, I got to get that kitchen ready for that turkey to arrive. Because once it arrives, it's going to be hot right out of her oven. So I have to have everything ready for them to just come in and sit that right on top of the stove and be ready to have it sit there because it's going to be hot. And I don't want to pick it up and carry it. So I will see you guys when I see you. If not on Sunday, which I don't think I will, then I will be live again Thursday night at 11 p.m. on this overstuffed house. And I will see you then. And have a great weekend. Bye.